All right. So with what do you call it? The CSS selectors, our classes and our IDs completed, we can actually apply some CSS. Okay. So I'm just going to drag this over and style CSS. But before I even bother doing that, I want to be able to apply fonts to what I have. Now, currently, the only thing we have available to us are like the basic ones that when you start typing in font family, and it's like they go with the real basic like serif or sans serif, and there's not a lot of options because you don't know necessarily what the person has installed. So what we're going to do is the same thing we did when we did the Bootstrap project back in Web Design 1. We're going to load in Google fonts, okay? So to do that, we're going to have to actually do it inside of our functions. So open up the functions, and where did styles go? And styles. Oh, that's weird. Okay, let's go back to functions. We're going to load in functions, okay? And we're going to add it to our My Files section. And we're going to load it in just like the rest of these. So first what I want to do, though, is actually go to my fonts.google.com. You'll see a link to the right, so just go ahead and click on that. But it's just fonts.google.com. And then you just want to look up the ones that you want to use. Okay, so you just kind of go through and you look for something you think would look okay. So, you know, just kind of go down. You can use these categories, and if you turn off, it will show only the ones in that category. There's different options here. I'm not going to go through it all. I already know the ones I want to use, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those. So one that I wanted to use was railway. Okay, so I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do the regular flavor. Regular. Select the style. It's going to add it to my panel here. Oh, it didn't pop up, but it's up here. So it'll add it to the panel. I'm just going to go ahead and look for another one. And then we'll do, what's the other one I want to do? It was babies. Let's do babies. Okay, we're going to grab babies. And then we'll select this style. Apparently there's only regular, so I don't have to worry about that. And we'll grab another one. And then the last one I wanted was the Shipori, I think just the regular one, this one here. Okay, and I'm just going to grab that one. And don't forget, when you select one, it'll actually give you options. If you scroll all the way down, it'll tell you which ones go well with it. So you could always find what your title font is and then find a body font that works well with it, or you can find a body font and then find a heading font that goes well with it. So you could do it that way. That's honestly how I usually find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one, and then I'm going to hit the little panel here, and it's going to show me my options here. Now, you can download these and then import them into your site, but that's really honestly not the best way to do it. Instead, what I want to do is actually just use the link, kind of like what we did before, but I'm going to use the WP and Q. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to grab just the URL of this part. I'm not worried about the pre-connect part. So we're going to go from here all the way down to here. Okay, so it's just the URL. I'm going to Control C to copy it, and then I'm going to go ahead and in here, I'm going to go ahead and just go view, and we'll toggle word wrap so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to do WP underscore N Q, I think that was right, and script. Okay, so we're going to enqueue a script, and we're going to just call it Google Fonts, because that's what it is. And then I just have to put that link in there. So I'm going to go boom, and then Control V. Okay. Now, this on its own actually won't work. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird. They changed the way that you embed it. So what we have to do is add this little bit in here. You have to add array, and then so do a comma, array, comma, and then null, like that. Okay, and that will, oh, and then on the end add the semicolon. Okay, and that will load it in correctly. Okay, there's one other thing I want to do real quick on this as well. Is that what you're going to see is that we have, if you remember the way that CSS works is that it reads the last CSS sheet, and if earlier in a CSS sheet I say, oh, color is blue, and then down here I say color is red, it will be red because that was the last thing done. So what you'll notice is that right now I have my style sheet, my main style sheet I'm going to do for my formatting here, and then it reads the responsive one. So if there's any styles that are the same, or I'm selecting the same options, the responsive style sheet is actually going to supersede it. So I actually want to take this one, Control X, and I'm going to put this one at the very bottom to make sure that if it does have any conflicts, or it will overwrite anything that's already been written. So that's kind of the best way to go. So just make sure that you also do that. But now this should be connected. We might need to adjust some other things, like take this HTTPS out. I think we need it in here because we're running locally, but I'm pretty sure when you're online, we have to take this off because it's already on the Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure. So yeah, we're just gonna leave it like that. Make sure you save it. And then what we're gonna do is actually add it to our style sheet. So go and open up your style sheet. That's not the style sheet, the style CSS. And let's close this back over. And we need to add basically our default CSS. Okay, so we're gonna say body, comma, P, comma, LI. So this is gonna be our body text, the most basic text. And to find the CSS rule, we're just gonna go here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make it I'm gonna scroll down. You can see they have ones for all of our different ones. So I'm just gonna grab this one and Control C to copy. So I'm just gonna do the railway one. And then we'll go back here and I'm just gonna Control V to paste. Beautiful, okay? And then we're gonna do our heading fonts. So we'll do H1, H2, H3. And then we're gonna copy the one I wanted to do for that. And that was the, oops, not this, sorry. That was the Babis. Grab this guy, Control C, and Control V. And just make sure it goes like that, good. And then we're gonna do what I call like the accent font. Basically it's fonts for like quotes, or if you're trying to highlight something, we're gonna be using it for that, okay? So we're gonna say H4, H4, H5, H6, because usually those aren't gonna be headings. Those usually don't go at the very top of the thing. And then it'll be, Qs and EMs. Okay, and then that one is going to be this guy here. So I'll just grab that one, Control C, go back here, Control V, and go like that. And then we'll save it. We'll go in here, and then I'll hit refresh. And drum roll. There you go. So you should have, you can see this has the footer pages font. Some of it's not going to be set because this is being controlled by the other elements there, okay? And I made a boo-boo, so this is something you should see. If you look, see how this doesn't look like my Babis? The reason why is that it has that fallback. So if I look at style, you'll see that the fallback font, if it doesn't find it, is cursive, which is basically handwriting font. And that ends up being whatever the default is. In this case, it looks like Comic Sans. It's pretty bad. So the reason why that was happening is I actually wrote it wrong. So if you go up here, functions, I wrote, and if you noticed it, W and Q scripts. It's supposed to be, I yelled at, that was supposed to be style. So save that. So sorry about that, W key style, then refresh. And now it's correct. Now you can see that it is the correct fonts now. So that wasn't working before, so you can see that looks more like it's supposed to, and it's not that like crappy Comic Sans font. All right, so just be aware that you need to make sure that it says style and not script right here, okay? Which I did it right underneath. If you look below, I just, for whatever reason, I wrote script. I think just because I wrote it right underneath this one and wasn't thinking. But anyway, other than that, everything else should be working, and we officially have the Google Fonts and our default text setup.